Welcome to another edition of Review Please Anime Edition. I am one of the hosts of this podcast slash, show, we would call it. Of course, I'm Ell, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jesus. How's it going, Jesus?
It's going. My dog's with me right now.
Yeah, he got excited. He was like, "Oh, you're talking about Kakegurui today?"
Yeah, Kakegurui. He's excited.
Yeah.
He watched it with me he watched the entire anime with me in bed. He just
that's
sat
hilarious.
there and stared at the screen with me. Actually, he probably wasn't paying attention. I don't know. Bye. Bye, Alistair.
Well,
yeah.
as we've spilled the beans already, this month's anime that we watched was Kakegurui Season 1. We didn't get into Season 2, just Season 1, because Season 2 was another 12 episodes, but it's whatever. Still, Season 1 is a great season, I would consider. But yes, so we're talking about the gambling anime known as Kakegurui. Before we get into the synopsis of it, where I'm going to break it down a little bit for the listeners or those who are watching the video version of this, I first want to start off, Jesus, with getting your top level thoughts on the anime. How'd you feel about it? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it as much as you hated One Punch Man? Did you? What are your overall feelings about it?
Well, first off, nothing could be how much I hate One Punch Man. Granted, peek behind the curtain. We have everything planned for the rest of the year pretty much. There's only one anime that I don't know anything about. So maybe that anime will be the one that I hate more than One Punch Man. I don't know. But nothing will be more. Yeah. But for Kakegurui, I enjoyed this anime a lot. I think like over the last few weeks, I've been slowly telling you how I feel about the anime.
Yeah.
Overall, I think it's a really enjoyable anime. I think there's a lot to like about it. I think the concept is really cool. Like this school of gambling. My dog is playing with it. My other dog is playing with the tail right now and barking at it. Whatever. But the overall concept I enjoy. I dig the setting. The setting's cool. For the most part, all the characters are pretty interesting. Like I like the intrigue that a lot of these, like the school council has.
Yeah.
Is it the school council, right?
Yeah,
right?
The student council. Yeah.
The student council. That's what I meant. I like the intrigue behind them and how each of them have their own like unique twist on what gambling is to them. I mean, at the end of the day, they're all addicted to gambling, right? They all want.
Yeah.
I think one person on the student council takes it a little too far because she wants to die or whatever. She wants gambling to kill her.
Midari. I think that's her name, Midari.
Goes a little bit too far. So there's that. My dog just brought a toy to me. I don't know if you can hear her growling.
Yeah.
She brought me a toy and wants me to play with her. So I'm doing that right now.
No
But
worries.
overall, the anime though, Kakegurui, it's a really good time. Is it my favorite anime? No. But I enjoyed it a lot. I want to watch season 2. I started watching season 2, and then I think you told me that it doesn't have an end, or maybe I looked it up. What I can't remember if we had that conversation.
No. I think the way that season 2 ends is, spoiler alert for those if you haven't seen season 2 or if you intend on watching it, skip past like a minute or two. But basically, if I remember correctly, so everyone's fighting for position of the head of student council, which was, I have the characters here, Kirari, who was the original, who took over, who beat out the previous student council president. She kind of resigns after the end of season 1 or in the beginning of season 2, and then basically everyone's of this big family known as the how do I pronounce this? Momobami clan, which is basically this clan of like family that are elites, and they kind of control a different aspect in Japan as far as entertainment, business, and stuff. And everyone's vying for the student council position. And the way it ends is someone gets it, but then it kind of has like what we talked about before the podcast, like a little bit of a there's more to come from this kind of.
Okay.
It does have a light end, but it's like it gives you the feeling like, oh, I wonder what else is going to happen.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll watch season 2 eventually. I liked Kakegurui enough to want to watch season 2, which is more than I can say about One Punch Man. Even though you tell me One Punch Man season 2 is better than the first season.
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'll give it a try. But
yeah.
There were a few things about Kakegurui that I kind of didn't enjoy. One of them I've talked to you about is the blatant sexual animation at times.
Sexualization, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is so weird. Why are you doing this? And like, I get it. It's a way to highlight sort of their psychological state and how gambling makes them feel.
Yeah.
But at times it was very off-putting. At times
Yeah.
it was very off-putting to the point that I was like, I don't know if I want to keep watching this. But I kept watching it, and in the end, when I look back at it, I'm like, I enjoyed it overall. The sexualization stuff could have been toned down a little bit, but I also
Yeah.
understand why the animation was the way it was, because it shows their psychological state in a lot of
Exactly,
ways.
yeah.
And like, I will say too, like the animation switch when they go into their like mental state, when they
Yeah.
get like really dark or like
Yeah.
intense, there's like a slight change in the animation that I'm like, oh yeah, I appreciate that a lot, especially when they're in their little matches. And like I liked each of the battles, I say, the gambling matches between
Yeah.
the characters and stuff, because I just think it's fascinating, like the different ways the anime tries to portray gambling, like the card games and the just like the rock paper scissors thing that they
Oh,
did.
yeah. Yeah.
So it was just interesting overall. With all of that, the other thing I have an issue with is that some of the pacing felt a little weird. Like some things got wrapped up way too quick, I feel like.
I could see that,
Like
yeah.
matches. Some of the man, I felt like I wouldn't say some of them. I felt like pretty much all the characters were one note for the entire time.
Yeah.
Like they're all addicted to gambling for their own various reasons, and it's interesting when they reveal why they want to gamble, but then after that it's like, but you're not learning anything. They don't change in any way or anything like that. It's like, oh, they're just in it for gambling. They're not, this is not a show that's really going to change these characters, I feel like. I feel like
Exactly, yeah.
their addiction is just going to stay the same, their desires are going to stay the same, and they're not learning anything from it.
Yeah.
And for better or worse,
Yeah.
you know, that's anime. I feel like that's a lot of animes out there, so like it's a weird thing to nitpick, but it's something I noticed where I was like, oh, they're not really learning anything from this. Like
Yeah.
the person that wanted to commit suicide via gambling, that's her whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
from what I gather, I'm like, cool, so you didn't learn anything from this. Great. So yeah.
Exactly.
So those are my
Okay.
top level thoughts. Again,
Okay.
overall, I did enjoy it, but the sexualization and the lack of character growth are the two things
Yeah.
that kind of bring it down a lot for me.
I could see that. Okay, cool. To go into my top level thoughts before we get into the synopsis here, I enjoyed this anime. The first time that I watched it, actually my partner kind of saw it. It was on Netflix, recommended it, and she was like, "Let's try this." And I immediately fell in love with the animation, the art style of it. I enjoyed that psychological kind of like thriller-esque of the gambling aspect of like,
Mhm.
you're basically seeing these people who are all addicted to gambling. They're actually the only person I think is redeemable in this is the guy. I forgot his name is Ryota.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
because he kind of in the whole plot of Kakegurui, he's kind of like the audience. He's the guy who's empathetic, and he kind of is looking at everything like he's the only sane person at this school, so to speak. And everybody else is just like a maniacal, crazy person who's willing to like bet all this money, bet their life, bet whatever to put it on the line in order to win and gain status in the high school. And so I loved the animation. It was cool to me. I will say, yeah, at first it did. If you're not ready for it here in Kakegurui, the over sexualization of like how people feel when they're gambling, of they're just like, oh, like it's very weird, and you're just like, what the hell is this? You know, people. But like after watching it again and then kind of looking at it, I can see how that's off-putting, but I also understand why I guess the way that they did it, because of it's them kind of like being so like in love with that feeling of like the thrill of the gamble of, or maybe feeling like they're going to win and they're like, oh, I can never lose, and they're just kind of like it's a deviant type of feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed it a lot, and now I'm kind of just used to it, but I understand why people, a lot of the things that I looked up as I was like researching was people are like, yeah, this anime would be even better if it just didn't have these like over sexualized moments of these kids in high school. And I definitely understand that. But outside of that, I think season 1 was like a very strong season. Like you said, it did have its moments where the pacing and some of the games kind of felt like they went too quick, but I think overall, I think it was pretty strong, and it's a very good anime that it's only 12 episodes, and I want to say that each episode is around 28 to I think the last one might be a little bit longer, but it's short, you know?
Yeah.
And so great anime. I enjoyed it a lot. I recommend it for people who if they're looking to get one that's not necessarily into like fighting, but more so like gambling and more psychological in a way. But with that said, go ahead.
Sorry. There's one other thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's because when we first started talking about doing anime review, please, anime edition, I brought up Classroom of the Elite, and at first you thought I was talking about Kakegurui, and then it was like, no, it's Classroom of the Elite, and I think those two animes are very similar in certain ways. They're completely different, but there are certain aspects like the school and like betting and all that, and where I think the Kakegurui kind of flounders and Classroom of the Elite excels at is having very nuanced characters. I don't really think any of these characters are nuanced. They're very surface level in their approach. Maybe like the student council president, what's her name?
Ferrari?
Yeah, she's the only real mystery there. But even then, like as the show progresses in revealing that like any mystery kind of gets caught under the rug because she's just like everybody else. She just wants to gamble and control. That's her whole thing. She just wants to control things. She keeps viewing everybody as like fish, right? The whole fish tank thing.
Yeah, as fish. Yeah, the strong survive.
Yeah, survival of the fittest, basically. And so like that's the other thing. Like going into this, I was expecting the way you talked about Kakegurui. Going into this, I was expecting another Classroom of the Elite, and it honestly does not even come close to Classroom of the Elite, in my opinion. Of course, Classroom of the Elite out there as one of my favorite anime. So that's the other downer for me. Like why I think this also, you hyped it up a little too much for me.
Oh, gotcha.
So I blame it all on you. But the other thing I wanted to talk about, one of the positives, and I just always love this in anime, when like enemies become friends, you know, in Dragon Ball Z, Goku, Vegeta, they become friends. We have Yumiko and Mary. Mary is one of the main characters. They become friends. Mary starts off as kind of like, she's antagonistic. But then slowly, they don't really become friends. I guess it would be like a Goku Vegeta situation where it's more respect for each other than friendship. But I really enjoyed Mary's arc because I feel like Mary is probably the only character I would say had any real character growth, because she goes from being antagonistic to being put in a position where she is a pet, and then gets out of the debt and then realizes, I don't want this whole system is fucked.
Exactly.
And it's like, okay, she had to go through that for that character growth, but I do think there is character growth there, and that her perception of the school and the gambling changed slightly. She's still addicted to gambling. She still wants to do it, and I get the impression that even if you know she makes people indebted to her, I doubt she would change too much, type of deal. But yeah, I do like the little bit of growth with Mary, because I thought she was probably the most interesting character for me, at least.
Oh yeah, definitely. I could definitely see that. It's funny because I know Mary is pretty cool. I really enjoyed Ryota, just because Ryota, I always connect with him, but of course that's on purpose. He's like he's the most sane person there.
He's the everyman. He's exactly, the person that's watching is just like, this shit's crazy. Let's do it.
Like, y'all are really doing this? Why are you guys sacrificing so much? It doesn't make any sense. He almost seems like he's at that high school by accident. Like he wasn't supposed to be there. And so I like him. Go ahead.
I mean, in the wiki it says like he wants to be there. He likes to gamble. He just sucks at it.
Exactly. But I enjoyed Ryota. I do like Yumiko, because Yumiko, she's literally someone who just enjoys the thrill of gambling. Not even necessarily wanting to win, but she's kind of like unstable, so to speak, of like, well, I don't care what happens. I just like the act of gambling. And she's like this tornado, and she's like here to like wreck shop of this school and how it works. And so it's just like, it's like, what's going to happen here? like with with her, with the rest of this student council and stuff. And so I think it makes it almost unpredictable in a sense, just because it's kind of like you don't know what's going to happen and what she won't do just to gamble with someone. So, but with all that said, let me go over the synopsis of Kakegurui here for everybody who's watching or listening. Here, the synopsis here: Kakegurui is set at the Hyoko Private Academy, a high school class elite school housing the children of Japan's wealthiest and most influential people, with many future leaders and professionals among the student body. However, the student hierarchy in this school is not determined by academic performance or athletic ability, but rather by gambling. Students are ranked by their monetary contributions to the student council, which fuels an intricate gambling system where students freely bet their fortunes against one another after class. Those who earn popularity, prestige, and connections, while those who lose and fall into debt become slaves to the whims of the remainder of the student body known as pets, nicknamed Fido or Mittens, depending on gender, and identified with a collar-like tag around their necks. Pets who are unable to clear their debts by the graduation receive life schedules, which dictate their futures as they work to pay off their debts. Second-year student Yumiko Jabami is at first glance a beautiful, cheerful, and intelligent high school girl who recently transferred to the private academy, but deep inside she is a compulsive gambler who simply gambles for the thrill of it. Unlike the rest of the students from Hyoko who do so for financial or social gain. Unrestrained by rules or logic, and with an exceptional observation ability to see through gambling scams, she quickly disrupts the hierarchy of the school, drawing the attention of the student council, especially its president, Kirari Momobami, who takes interest in Yumiko. So, that's the synopsis of it. Basically, yes, in the show, Yumiko, Kirari calls her a serpent in the Garden of Eden. It's very interesting to me because I didn't catch that. I'm very slow to catch sort of like premises, because Kirari, who is the if you've seen the anime, she's the student council president with the blue hair, blue eyes, or the white hair, blue eyes, whatever. And she's created this, so to speak, Garden of Eden, where she kind of like Yumiko is like almost a mirror-like image of her, where she enjoys gambling. But she enjoys it because she just wants to see what's going to happen, Yeah. And so the more crazy or chaotic it is, the more she's interested to be like, I wonder what's going to happen here. And Yumiko just enjoys the thrill of gambling. So in a sense, they're almost a one-to-one, but not quite. But I do enjoy it's like a little bit of a religious undertone in the anime where Kirari is sort of like, I've created this Garden of Eden here. It's perfect paradise for them, for the elites who have all the money, so to speak. And Yumiko is this serpent that's come in, kind of like in the religious text, the Garden of Eden, of the serpent to come try to like mess everything up for them there. And so I think that was pretty cool. Out of these characters, like I said, I really enjoyed Yumiko, Ryota. This anime has a lot of cool like games, like you said, in here that are just fun. Like from the first episode, it kind of just hooks you with the rock paper scissors anime, where Yumiko's this new girl in class, and of course Mary is like, she's not even an elite, but she has a lot of students who are in debt to her. And like just watching them play this very simple game of drawing 3 cards, and you play a card and hopefully you beat the other person, and so to speak, to just introduce the gambling thing. But that's like one of my favorite games. Besides that, did you have anything that kind of like a game that you remember that you really enjoyed watching?
So it's hard for me to really say because like it's all a blur for me.
Okay.
I did not rewatch this like I probably should have.
It's all good.
I did not rewatch. So like I watched this weeks ago, and so I'm trying to remember everything. I like the concept of the Itsuki's game. Itsuki was the daughter of the CEO. They just like toss the cards onto the thing, and then they have to like match randomly. I like that. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Midari, I did like the aspect of the because this was a good way to have Ryota kind of have a bigger role in the show.
Yeah.
Where Midori's thing was like Ryota would lay out some cards and they would have to match his cards, and whoever had the
Yeah.
most matches would then have to like shoot themselves or shoot their
It's
person or
like a
whatever.
Russian roulette. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
Russian
Russian
roulette.
roulette, but they with cards, and the cards have to match, and like yeah, and from what I remember, right, the screen was like reversed for
Yeah.
them, right, and so they had to, yeah. So that game was cool. And then I enjoyed, and it's just because I didn't really care for this character, and I was like, yeah, fuck this dude. Was the treasurer guy, treasurer
Oh
guy,
yeah.
Kadai,
Yeah.
I was just glad to see him get destroyed because he was a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Like,
he was.
and a show where everybody's kind of a piece of shit, he was the most piece of shit person in the show. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
I was just like, fuck this dude. He's an asshole. Just like
Yeah.
the way he treated other characters and stuff. Like specifically, I'm gonna bring her back, Itsuki. Like I came to really like Itsuki, like her character. She's another person that went from being enemy to sort of a friend, more of a
Yeah.
tag along. She helps Yumiko take down the guy. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. I enjoyed that game a lot too, because that's definitely towards the end of the season where Kadei, he is this kind of like by the books type of person, very logical, very like he's almost like a methodical like gambler, where he kind of is like, well, no, if I don't have to do this, then I'm not going to do this. He does not enjoy he likes gambling, but he doesn't like it in the way that Yumiko or
or
Karari,
seemingly anybody else does. Like
yeah, anybody else.
yeah.
Exactly. He doesn't like to take risks too much. He's very much like, I just do what I need to do and I win and that's it. But it's interesting to kind of call back to what you said earlier. In this anime, when you're first introduced to everybody, they're all very composed, very like, oh yeah, no, I'm higher than this person, or like I'm better than this person. But then when they kind of get into the gambling and then they start to kind of lose a little bit, you see them start to slip with the animation of them kind of like getting more into the emotion of losing and not like being upset, which I really enjoyed a lot, because he is very much like a very composed gambler.
Yeah.
But then I think even moments in that gambling event, Yumiko is trying to kind of like poke at him.
Yeah.
And then Itsuki comes in to help too. And then basically eventually you see him where he starts off with, I think I want to say like black or brown hair, but then because of the gambling, his hair turns white. If later on where he kind of just goes white and he's like, oh, I can't believe I lost, or I fell victim to the games that they were playing. And so it's really cool the depiction that they show of like everyone who's composed, because that's how it most of the time it starts, where Yumiko like challenges someone and they're like, huh. Because the whole thing too here at the school, if you don't know, everybody's a cheater at the school.
Oh yeah, that's the other big thing. Everybody cheats. There's no like clean wins at all.
Exactly.
I guess Yumiko is the only one that doesn't really cheat. She like she figures out the game they're playing and then does it herself. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
she figures out the cheating and then
exactly.
she's like, "Oh, you're gonna do that? Then I guess I can too." Even then, she's
Exactly.
like fairly honest with it too, because she always points it out. This is something I'm always annoyed by in any anime, is like they always say what they're gonna do, and it's like, okay, you didn't have to tell them that you're on to their cheating. Like, come on, why?
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's so funny. Yeah, because I think if I remember correctly, Yumiko, yeah, she's like this anomaly where she's actually okay with cheating. And most of the time, I want to say she said that most of the time it's okay if they cheat, but it's like if you don't figure out that they cheat, that's your fault. Like, and not figuring out how to beat them at their own game, that's your fault. And so here everybody's like fine with cheating. You learn that from like the first episode where Mary is cheating with all the people that are in debt to her, and Ryota is giving her signals as to which card she's gonna play, so she knows how to beat Yumiko, and then she figures it out, and she's like a savant with figuring out how to cheat. She just knows how to do it.
She's a gambling genius.
Exactly. I was gonna say that another because that definitely the choice poker with Kide, that's what it was called, was really great. I enjoyed the Tower of Doors, if you remember that one, where Karari, it's Yumiko versus Karari's assistant. I don't know if you remember that one.
No.
They go into the field of flowers.
Was that season 1?
Yeah, that's season 1.
Oh, what? No, I don't remember that.
Well,
It's all a blur.
basically, I could be remembering. Let me actually look this up real quick. I swear it's season 1. Season 1. Hold on. Where's Kakegurui?
Because the only time the assistant was around, are you talking about the secretary,
Yeah, the secretary.
Sayaka? The only time she's really getting involved with anything is the Yumiko and Mary team up.
Let's see.
Because I was about to talk about that.
Oh yeah. Let me see. Let me make sure. Is this? Oh, you're right. Never mind. Season 2. Whoops, wrong season. I got it mixed up.
I was like,
Sorry.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't remember this.
We'll skip that. Erase
All right.
that. No. I was gonna say there was another game. Cause I have a couple of them listed here.
I can talk about the Yumiko Mary team up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
When they're trying to pay off their debts, so in the end, towards the end of the season 1, they give an opportunity for all the pets to pay off their debts, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I don't even care about the character. He was a piece of crap, so I can't remember his name. But he he entered because he wanted to make Yumiko his pet, right?
Oh yeah.
And anyways, the Mary and Yumiko team up in that, and it's poker, right? It's just regular poker.
Yeah.
And it's regular poker with like a twist to it. But they like develop their own little system to like communicate with each other, and just like how Mary and Yumiko, this is when like they cemented sort of their alliance, friendship, whatever you want to call it. From that point forward, they're pretty close at that point. Even Ryota's like, I guess they like each other now, because they come out of it. He's like, oh, you guys are just talking and hanging out now? Okay, cool.
Exactly.
And,
yeah, that was, and you said that was the guy that was like being a bully to that other girl student, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was a bully to the other student. He like basically tried to rape Yumiko as well.
Exactly.
So
that makes
there's
sense,
that,
yeah.
and so yeah, it was just I just really enjoyed that whole little 2-episode arc there, just because like it brought Yumiko and Mary closer together, for sure, to show that there is an alliance there. And again, I'm always a fan of villains becoming the antagonists becoming friends, or loosely friends. So I enjoyed that arc because it was interesting, and like again, it was one of those things too where like within the like first couple of rounds they go, oh yeah, we've been cheating this entire time. Mary and I have been talking this entire time through like we're tapping each other's leg or whatever, and the other people are like, oh, we can do that too. And it's like, why did you guys do that? You could have just fucked with them the entire time. Why did you do that?
I think it's like it's kind of a thing, kind of like what Karari says, like I said, they're just playing with their food, they're just like, yeah, let's show you how we're beating you. And then basically that causes him to like spiral, and he's trying to get that other girl student to kind of corroborate with him. But she the way that Mary and Yumiko are working together, it just doesn't matter, because they're like, oh, if you think you got us this way, we're actually going to go this way now. And if he's just like going more and more and more in debt, and it's
and it's also
crazy.
too like Yumiko's like trying to empower her as well, because like she's been abused constantly, and she gets like a little bit of backstory. I can't remember her name. I wish I could, but like she was getting abused constantly by Nanami is her name.
Oh, Nanami. Okay.
Yeah, she was just getting abused by June, which is the person and stuff, and like all this other stuff, and like Yumiko wanted to empower her to overcome him, to be like, you don't have to take that shit from him, and she does. Like she fucks him over at the end of the game, and that's really what clinches the game for Mary and Yumiko, is that she overcomes her fear of her abuser and takes back control of her life.
Exactly.
And forces June to become a pet. Because he was stupid and should have even done it. So
exactly. I think that the first season did a good job of building up the tension to Karari and Yumiko meeting for that last match of the season. And because they both are, in a sense, Karari enjoys gambling just to see what happens, whereas Yumiko enjoys gambling just for the sake of gambling and the feeling and the rush that she gets from it. And I really liked the game that they played with the tarot cards, where basically each card has a value at the top of it, where it's 0 to 20, 21, something like that. I can't remember. And basically, they have each of them picks a card, and then Ryota's involved as well, where he's the last one to pick a card, and he's the deciding factor, because the stakes of the game are, if Yumiko wins, then Kurari has to leave the school to never come back again. If Kurari wins, then Yumiko has to leave. And so, of course, in an true anime fashion, spoiler alert, but so yeah, it ends in a draw. And so,
it's a tie.
It's a tie. Wow. Of course, season 2 coming. But I enjoyed it because this is where through the whole season, Ryota is kind of almost like just like a bystander. He's just kind of like there. He doesn't really want to get involved in anything, and he's just kind of like helplessly along. Because I think I've talked to you this about this before, where Ryota, he wants to be at the school and he does enjoy gambling, but he kind of realizes quickly that he's not the best gambler, and he's just like very average.
He's not cut out for the rough and tumble life.
Exactly.
At the school.
And I think there comes a moment where of course, he's worried about Yumiko in one of the games, and he's like, Yumiko, he's like, you could just, don't do it. You don't have to do it. And she tells him very like sternly, it's like, you don't have to be here. You can just go and you can leave. And then I think he says in his inner monologue to himself, he's just like, I should leave, but I can't leave her. Almost like as if he's like, not necessarily just in love with her, but he's like attached to her energy or whatever. He just can't get himself to leave or anything like that. And so, it's interesting because throughout the whole anime, you watch him kind of grow to become somewhat of a better gambler through watching Yumiko and everybody else gamble. Because, of course, as you know, through the series, the first season, everyone cheats. And then, of course, in this last game, of course, Kurari does have a cheat to where she marks the card that he should pick, and she's kind of like trying to trick him to pick this card so that Yumiko loses. But he decides instead to take up basically Yumiko's way of looking at gambling. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to let chance do it. And then, of course, Yumiko like falls in love, and she's like, oh my God. He's like, that's true gambling. She's like, I love it. And then you see the cool animation of his hand going around trying to pick, and he picks one. And he picks a card that basically makes everybody 0, and
it evens everything out. And because he was like, it was too obvious, like the blue mark that
exactly
she left on the card when she was placing them. So he was like, I think this is a trick, so I'm gonna go against what they expect.
Exactly. And then just he does it on a whim, and so that it's like I enjoyed that a lot. And that was like one of the good games. There was one more game that I enjoyed. I enjoyed the before the match with Kaido where Yumiko was playing against the pop star girl.
Yeah, not Itsuki.
Yumimi?
Yumimi? Yeah, Yumimi.
Yeah.
Yumimi.
Yeah, she that was like super cool. It was super funny just because that's what I've always envisioned what pop stars were like sometimes, where they're like putting on a face. And they hate
their
fans.
Their fans, yeah. I figured that. That's the case. I too feel like that's the case for a lot of things. So, damn you, T Swift. I'm kidding. T Swift is an angel. She's perfect. She would never. I just realized something. And this is why my dogs have been bugging me.
Mm-hmm.
I have cookies. I have dog treats in my pocket, and I forgot to give it to him earlier. And Alistair's right now licking my pocket, wanting the cookies that are there.
That's hilarious.
I had this in my pocket the entire time.
You're like, why are they here? Why are they bothering me?
That's
Alistair. So funny. But
I was trying to gamble away their treats. I don't know where Morgie went.
The last thing that I'll say about this anime that of course I'm speaking with this because I know the knowledge of seeing season 2. Excuse me. One thing that I really like about this anime that I think there are a lot of animes who kind of get this right or they make it good, but the lore behind the family is very interesting. Like just to give a short glimpse, which if you do watch season 2, you'll get more of it. But the idea of the Momobami clan and how there's like that's the name of the big umbrella of the family, and underneath it there's like deviations of different families, and they're in different parts of the entertainment world, the business world, just different branches of them. And it's interesting because in this season 1, I can't remember if you get a glimpse where people are trying to do a background check on Yumiko as like, who is this girl? Like
that happens towards the end of the season.
That's right. Okay.
Because it starts with the Kata going, she has to have like unlimited funds or whatever, and
exactly. And then, like people don't know really much, if anything, about her. I think the only thing that they talk about is that she has a sister who's in like a mental hospital.
Yeah. That gets brought up towards the end of the season, and then the Mombami clan doesn't get introduced until like the last 2 episodes of season 1.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
I will say that was like a weird introduction, because it gets introduced when Kirari has to like leave the school for something.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
She leaves on the
helicopter.
Helicopter.
Yeah.
And the Sayaka's like, "Oh no, don't leave me. I don't know what to do. What do you want me to do? I can't keep you." And then that's when Kate is just like, "Oh well, I'm gonna go do whatever the hell I want because I want to be student president." Blah blah blah.
Exactly.
And so that happens in like the last 3 episodes, and I remember that happening. I'm like, "Huh, this is weird." I'm assuming this is gonna pay off some way, because I was just like, this is weird.
Yeah, they get more into it in season 2, and you get introduced more into the family, and like more members of the different branches start to come in, and which is really cool. But yeah, it's very interesting because to give a little preview, because Yumiko's family, the tribe that she's in, was basically a very small tribe or like branch that got shunned for I can't remember exactly what for, and they almost forgot that they were a part of the family. They were so small because of something that happened a long time ago. But as you learn later on, they kind of discover like, oh, she's from this family and blah blah blah. But that's what I really did enjoy about, because you get like the smallest taste of it in the season 1, but then season 2 they dive more into it. But yeah, anyway, to kind of wind things down a little bit, overall, I'll say my last thoughts on Kakegurui is that I think the anime was really good. I think that the animation style of it was really cool. Just the gambling, the games that they played, I think were really cool. I'll say that all the characters in here are bad people.
Yeah.
They're all bad people. Well, I was about to say maybe not Ryota, but he's still kind of, but he's the least of the bad.
Yeah, and I will say Sayaka seems like a good person too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, maybe she changes in season 2, but like she's just there trying to.
Yeah.
She's like there's like almost an infatuation with Kirari that where like she's kind of obsessed. So I would say Sayaka's pretty decent.
Yeah, pretty.
And like she shines in the June match. The poker stuff where she shuts down June constantly. Is like, you're getting aggressive. Stop being aggressive.
Exactly. Yeah. But outside of that, I think it's pretty cool. A lot of the games, if you're looking for an anime that's kind of a little bit more psychological, because I think what this anime does good is that it's almost like a depiction of just like people at their worst. This is like an anime on like almost like capitalism, because there's specifically an episode where literally it's like spelled out for you in the dialogue where like Yumiko talks about capitalism and how the elites and da-da-da. It's basically like a portrayal of like, it's a piece on capitalism, and and how like it's bad and it's not good because of just like people in power and all the money that they have, blah blah blah. But overall, I did enjoy this a lot. The only one thing, like I said, we said at the beginning, is it is a little sexualized in certain moments, especially with Yumiko and other people. And if you're not ready for it, you're gonna be like, "What the hell is this?" And then some pacing issues here and there, but overall, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. Overall, I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know if it's going to be an anime that I'm going to ever rewatch. Like, I'll watch season 2, and then if there's ever a season 3, or I'll watch the spinoff show that's specifically about Mary, right? So there is, for those who don't know, there's a spinoff show that features Mary as the main character.
Yeah.
And so I'll like watch all of that, but like I don't know if it's going to be an anime that I'm going to rewatch in the future, if that makes sense.
No,
yeah,
just
definitely.
like
I'm going to watch it once, because like I feel like once you know everything, the mystery's no longer there. Like, okay, I know what to expect. and so kind of like burns itself out after one viewing. At least for me, it burned itself. Like I have no desire to go back and rewatch it, which is why I didn't. Sorry. I
Yeah,
was just
no,
like,
you're good.
I'm gonna go watch a bunch of other anime that I'm enjoying a lot more. So, but
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
overall though, I did enjoy it, which brings us to our rankings right now.
course.
For our video viewers, they can see our rankings, but for the audio listeners, I'm gonna run down through the list, and then we also have an overall ranking now. So my individual list starts with my number 1 is Trigun Stampede. Number 2 is Bocchi the Rock. Number 3 is Your Lie in April. Number 4 is Spy Family. And number 5 is One Punch Man. And then over on Elias's list, sorry, you just used your real name. L's list, number 1 is One Punch Man. Gross. Number 2 is Trigun Stampede. 3 is Spy Family. 4 is Bocchi the Rock. And 5 is Your Lie in April. And then our overall ranking, which is just a point system between our two lists. Trigun Stampede is our number 1. Number 2 is a tie between Bocchi the Rock and One Punch Man. Gross. Number 3 is Spy Family. And number 4 is Your Lie in April. Elle, where are you going to put Kakegurui on your personal list?
Oh man, it's interesting. Because I do enjoy this anime, and regardless of how many times I see it, I just like the maybe it's like the characters for me. Sometimes they stick as bad as they are, in like personality wise. For me, I'm going to put Kakegurui, surprise, surprise, at number 3. So Spy Family, Bocchi, and Your Lie go down 1.
Okay, so Kakegurui. I forgot how to spell it.
Kakegurui.
I guess I could look. Yeah. I could have looked over at the screen. I have the stream stuff set up over there, and then my doc that I'm working on right here in front of me.
Hilarious.
June. All right, and that's gonna give that 3 points. No, that's giving it. I'm completely wrong on this. So for me, it's coming down to, because I messed up my list. I've already set this. It's too late to like change it or anything, so I'm not going to. It's locked in. I have to go down I have to start at the bottom of the list. I have to start at the bottom of the list and go, did I enjoy Kakegurui more than One Punch Man? And the answer is yes, I did. Did I enjoy it more than Spy Family? I did not. I did not. So for me, it's going in the number 5 spot, because while I like it, I do like it.
Yeah.
It doesn't has the wholesomeness of like Spy Family.
I gotcha.
It doesn't have the deep layers like Your Lie in April did, or it doesn't have the excitement that I have for Bocchi the Rock. Like Bocchi the Rock, I think about all the damn time because I just love Bocchi the Rock. And then Trigun Stampede, it's the fanboy in me. I love Trigun. Like I said this in the Trigun review, that Trigun's one of my favorite animes ever, and Stampede easily up there for me as one of my favorite animes too. And so it's like, looking at the rest of the list, it's just like, yeah, Kakegurui doesn't really go past any of these other ones, just in pure enjoyment factor and like what resonates with me and stuff. With that said, leaps and bounds better than One Punch Man. I would put One Punch Man like negative 100 if I could.
Oh my god, it's hilarious.
Just got to take shots at it all I can, you know. So yeah, so that is my list now. Trigun Stampede number 1, Bocchi the Rock number 2, Your Lie in April 3, Spy Family still 4, Kakegurui at number 5, and then One Punch Man at the bottom of the list because it's awful. Elle, talk for me while I compute what our overall rankings are right now.
No worries. So I will say that, of course, my list is stated. So now for me, it's One Punch Man at 1, Trigun Stampede at number 2, now Kakegurui at number 3, Spy Family at 4, Bocchi the Rock at number 5, and Your Lie in April at number 6. And so it's interesting, just because this is, I have a feeling that I think, well, this could change, but I think maybe by the end of the year, One Punch Man still might be number 1, unless one of these animes just takes it away from me.
Ugh,
I just love that anime so much.
I mean, like I said, I understand why. Like, the animation's great. Like, I will say that about One Punch Man. The animation is utterly fantastic. But with that said, like, it doesn't do much for me beyond just the animation style, and I want more depth to it than what it gave me. It is what it is. Like, I'm sure there is like some deep level to it. It's just, it doesn't resonate with me in any significant way. So
Oh yeah, I get that. Makes sense.
All right, we are almost done here. Oh
Nice.
man.
No, you're good.
Oh man.
I hope that to kind of finish off here, while you're finishing it up, I think supposedly that there were talks of doing a season 3 for Kakegurui, but there's no confirmation on it yet. Which sucks because I know there's 2 seasons, and like we said earlier in the episode, season 2 kind of ends with like almost like a little hinting that there's going to be more to come. But of course, I think season 2 came out in either 2018, 2019, something like that. So it's been some time now. And so I hope, just because I think the manga, I want to say, just recently ended, I think, or it's about to end. So hopefully maybe when that's done, maybe they'll do a 3rd season, final season. But yeah, like I said, I think season 2 is a lot cooler. If for those of you who are listening or watching, if you enjoyed season 1, season 2, I think you'll enjoy it even more, just because there's a little bit more depth to it as far as like with the family aspect. And I think that's always cool. If an anime can build like cool, interesting lore, I think that you can, like, keep it going for a while.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so our overall ranking now: number 1, Trigun Stampede. Yay! Number 2, still tied between One Punch Man and Bocchi the Rock. Number 3 is Kakegurui. Number 4 is a tie between Spy Family and Your Lie in April.
Oh my god!
So we have 2 ties there.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh wait, no, I just lied.
Oh.
No, never mind.
Okay.
Kakegurui and Spy Family are tied. Spy Family.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
And then Your Lie in April is number 4.
Funny. All these ties. That'd be hilarious if we ended on ties at the end of the year, like on.
I don't think.
Just
because of how high Trigun is on both of our lists, I don't think it's gonna. Trigun, I think, is always going to be number 1 on the overall ranking, just because of how high. It just depends on like what falls beneath everything else,
Gotcha.
So next month, our anime for next month is going to be Megalobox season 1, and then and we'll go ahead and reveal August as well. So for July, it's Megalobox, and then for August, we're watching Erased. So if you want to watch those animes along with us, you can. We will talk about that on the final Friday of. We'll talk about Megalobox on the final Friday of July, which is going to be July 28th. And then in August, we'll have our Erased episode up on August 25th. So be on the lookout for those. I know, super far in advance, but we are halfway through the year. And
that's so crazy.
We're 6 animes down. So we have 6 more to come. And I think we have a couple bangers coming up. So I think because you haven't started Megalobox, have you?
No, not yet. I want to start that here soon.
I think it's going to surprise you. I hope it surprises you. But yeah. So
nice.
We have some great animes coming up though, and I'm excited about talking about them. So yeah. Anyways.
Nice.
Wind us down.
Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in to this episode of Review Please Anime Edition, where we reviewed Kakegurui. Like I said, you can always catch the video version here on our YouTube at Respawn Please Podcast. Just type that in the search bar. We'll pop up here. You can also listen to the audio version on the go. Review Please Anime Edition, available everywhere you get podcasts: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Make sure, if you're into video games, you want to hear about video game content, tune in to Respawn Please Podcast, which is every Friday live version at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, or edited video version and audio version release every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube, as well as everywhere you get podcasts. Be sure to follow the podcast on social media, on TikTok and Instagram at Respawn Please Podcast, and we will catch you all next time.
Take care, you bloody fools.
Bye.